What's up, y'all? I'm Tristan.
And I'm Ashley, and we're Trashley.
Welcome to our TAD Talk.
Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Welcome to our first ever TAD Talk.
What TAD Talk is going to be a collection of videos about specific topics that we care deeply about that we wanted to share with all of you.
Yeah, and today we are going to talk about relationships.
And all the ins and outs of them. So we wanted to start off by telling you guys how we met and the story of us. So we met on Tinder. It's a mobile dating site where you swipe left for no, swipe right for yes. And we both ended up swiping right. We matched, we started talking, and we later didn't like each other after our first date.
Yeah.
I thought she was on her phone too much, and I don't know what you didn't like about me.
It wasn't that I didn't like anything about you. It was I was talking to someone else, and I wasn't really in the mindset of wanting a serious relationship. I was kind of just dating around, talking to tons of guys, and just having fun, I guess.
So eventually, months later, we started dating in August, and so ever since then, it's been 4 years. It'll be 4 years in August. So ever since then, we've been together, and 4 months after we started dating is when we moved in with each other.
Yeah, we moved in with a family member of Tristan's, and everything was really great for a while. I mean, we did have some stress with our living situation, but it wasn't too extreme. We were able to get through it. We went on an amazing road trip to Seattle at the end of July in 2017. When we came back to our room being packed up and basically not having a place to stay. So in the heat of the moment, my mom offered us to live with her because a lot of our other family members, they just had full houses. And she had the most room to give, even though she didn't have a lot of room to begin with. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It was really tight. I mean, there was already 3 other people living there, a dog and 2 cats.
yeah.
So we ended up sleeping on a futon in the middle of her living room. It wasn't ideal, but we
Made it work.
yeah, we looked at the positive side of it, and we made it work. We ended up getting our first dog, Ollie, while we lived there. So after April, when we had moved out, we had finally got full-time jobs. We saved up enough money to move out on our own. We got our first tiny home, and
Our first tiny home.
yeah, and
We do rent though. We don't own. We do rent. We got our first place together as a rental.
Yeah. So we moved in here, and it was hard. Like, even at the beginning, with both of us having full-time jobs, first time living on your own, having to pay rent and all your utilities. We had to buy all of our appliances and furniture.
Yep.
So we got a lot of hand-me-down stuff, and it was really hard. So it put a little bit of stress on our relationship, but we made it through. And then up until April, we were doing pretty good. So
2019, Tristan got laid off, and I am a nanny. So being a nanny, it's not like I can pick up more hours or try and move up or anything like that to try and make more money. I work a ton of hours. I love what I do. But, so I already work a normal work week. Sometimes I work a little bit extra, and there just wasn't really room for me to make any more money. So with him being laid off, it was very, very stressful because his income is what really pays the bills. And so from February up until August, he was kind of just working jobs that just would pay the bills for a couple of weeks. He was jumping through things, and it was extremely stressful. We did our taxes the other day, and he looked at the number and he goes, "How did we make it through?" Like, how did we make it through? Because we didn't even make as much money as our bills are a year. And that just goes to show how stressful that it was. And it just caused a ton of fights and a huge rift in our relationship, to the point that at the end of July, maybe the beginning of July, I can't remember the specific dates, but we almost broke up. He was almost ready to throw in the towel and just call it quits. But that is around the time that we started going to church normally and started investing in our relationship with God. And that also then led into investing in our own relationship.
You know, a lot of people say that the perfect relationship doesn't fight and the perfect relationship doesn't do this and that, and there is no perfect relationship. The only perfect relationship that you can have is between you and God. And so we realize that we have to have God in our relationship. We have to put him first before we even put each other. It opened us up to have, more positive views on everything, and knowing that we are going to be okay no matter what. So the fact that things ended up working out made me realize, as someone who didn't believe in anything religious a couple of years ago, that really made me believe in something greater. So
yeah. And then through our church, we learned about investing in your relationship. And this is something that I wish that I would have known 2 years ago, when we were just dating and living together, and we had talked about marriage, but we just weren't at that point yet. And I think that a lot of people wait to invest in their relationship until they're married, and not even right when they get married, but when they're married and down the line, and they kind of feel like, well, what now?
People use therapy as a last resort, I feel like. And so it's, when you're about to get a divorce, okay, let's go to therapy.
Or we're fighting a lot, let's go to therapy.
And we took it as let's learn how to love each other before we even get married.
Right.
And so we started going to our young couples groups, and that's where we learned about the 5 love languages. And it's honestly been the most life-changing thing for a relationship, for me anyways. And so what the 5 love languages is there's 5 different spectrums. There's acts of service, quality time,
gifts,
receiving gifts, physical touch, and
words of affirmation. Did you say that?
Words of affirmation.
Okay.
And so you take a test. You can Google it and find the test online anywhere for free. You take the test, you find out what your love language is. And so we ended up taking the test, and mine is acts of service, and Ashley's was a tie between quality time and physical touch.
And words of affirmation. I had 3.
So
3 out of 5.
The one thing that people don't realize is everybody has a love language, but you tend to love in your own language rather than someone else. And with the old saying goes, opposites attract, your partner is going to have a different love language than you.
Not always, but it is more common for your spouse or your significant other or your partner to have a different love language.
Right.
And not a lot of people think about that or are aware of that.
Yeah. So with mine being acts of service, I like things done for me to feel truly loved. So if I come home and Ashley has the whole house clean, she did all the dishes, mowed the lawn, took the dogs out, I feel overjoyed, and I'm, head over heels for this girl. Now her is quality time, physical touch, and words of affirmation. So the way she feels loved is if I were to tell her every morning that she's beautiful, and at the end of it, when I come home from work, just put my phone away and we just watch a movie together, something like that. The thing is though, you expect that person to automatically know what you want. And people can say what they want, but you're not truly understanding it until you learn what the love languages are about.
And not even just learning what the love languages are, but learning how to apply them. Because if it's a love language that it isn't for you, you're going to have a hard time loving with that love language. And through our group, and through our young couples group, and our leaders, they were really able to just kind of show us that you have to work hard. It's not going to come natural to you, and you shouldn't get frustrated or I can't think of the word that I want to use, but you shouldn't not want to love them in their love language. You just have to take the time to really learn what it is. So for me, I hate cleaning. I'm not a cleanly person. Our house 9 times out of 10 is so cluttered, and I don't normally think about it. I come in the house and I just take my shoes off in the middle of the floor, and I don't care. But for Tristan, that's something that like drives him crazy, and he's like, oh my gosh, just put your shoes away. Why is it so hard? So it's like, I have to think about it. I have to remind myself, this is something he doesn't want. This is something that bothers him. And it takes you back, and you're making the choice then to love your partner. He doesn't like when my shoes are in the middle of the floor. I need to move them, and then I move them. And that action is just another choice of showing him my love for him. And I think that that's important too.
I think that's one of the key things that people need to realize is once you figure out your spouse's love language, you need to
make that choice. Make that choice to love them in their love language and not yours.
Well, not only that, but research what you can do to show someone that.
Or not even research. Talk to them about it. I'm not good with the acts of service, love language. Tell me, what would make you feel loved? Or him to me, I'm not good with quality time. What would make you feel loved? Talking to your partner, listening, and just really taking that step is so important, and it really helped us through the rough couple months that we were having. Just really learning about each other and about how we feel loved and how to love one another better is just, it's so important.
Yeah, and if any of you have questions about any of the 5 love languages, feel free to reach out to us personally. You can follow us on Instagram. You can comment on this video, or if you have our personal information, you can go ahead and reach out.
Of course.
You can ask any questions you want.
Yeah.
So the last thing that we wanted to talk about was sacrificing your ego.
It's not even just sacrificing your ego. It's just sacrifice in general.
You have to give up things to make your other one happy. And that's easier said than done. And we've all heard it, and you're like, yeah, I've heard that before. You know, I sacrificed my nail appointment to go take my man to his
Or
game.
I sacrificed watching my TV show to let my man play his video games. Or I sacrificed playing my video games to hang out with my girlfriend. Like,
it's the little things like that, but we're looking at the bigger picture as to where it almost goes back to the love languages. If you know that your spouse's love language is quality time, and you downright refuse to spend any time with them, what are you doing? Like, you want to show your spouse you love them, but you don't want to love them in their own language that they speak fluently.
right.
You have to give up your happiness a little bit just to
Sometimes.
make them happy because you love them. And that's what I see a lot wrong with, especially people our age in relationships.
Yeah.
You know, in your early 20s, you
Are
either
selfish.
want to, you're selfish, you want to do your own thing, and that's fine. And I'm not saying to give up your life to make someone else happy.
Right, but I'll use an example. I'm not a social person. I have terrible anxiety, and with my anxiety, there are times where I just don't want to leave the house. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go to these functions. I don't want to go to the party. I don't want to go to the band gig. And it's not because I don't want to be there. It's because I'm anxious, and I'm not good at socializing. I'm just not a social person. But there have been many times where I've had to sacrifice that want of sitting at home and doing nothing, and sitting at home and not being social, and go to these events with Tristan because he wants me there, and it's important to him that I'm there and that I'm hanging out with him, and I'm hanging out with his family, I'm hanging out with his friends, and I'm just a part of that part of his life. And that is a big sacrifice for me. There are a lot of things I've done in our relationship that are so out of my comfort zone, but I made that sacrifice, and I willingly made that sacrifice, which is another big point. You have to be willing to do it. If you do it and then you throw it in your partner's face, that's not going to lead to a healthy and a happy relationship. It defeats the purpose. It does. It defeats the purpose of making the sacrifice.
The whole point in being in a relationship is to give your utmost 100% love for the other person. And if you can't sit there and say that you've done everything that you can for a person, then you need to reevaluate your relationship. And not saying that you need to throw it away, but you need to work on things. You know,
Right.
I can be very selfish at times. I don't understand anxiety. I rarely get anxious with things, and so
Unless the house is messy.
with Ashley's example, with the social thing, I'm a pretty social person. I like talking to people. I like going out and doing things, but when Ashley says she doesn't want to go, it almost feels like an attack on me personally, and not even what she feels. And so I have to look back, and I have to word my words differently, and I have to react differently to her when things like that happen. And so it's just owning up to your mistakes, owning up that you have to sacrifice some things in order to make your spouse happy, and understanding what their love language is to make sure that you can make them the happiest that they can be.
Yeah. You gotta be willing to just recognize that you're not perfect. As happy as you are, as much as you love your partner, your relationship isn't perfect. And we had a hard time, I think, realizing that and wanting to reach out for help. From the beginning, we always said, like, oh, we never fight. Oh, we're so great together. We're such a good match. And, like, now we do fight. Oh my gosh, half the time I want to rip his head off. He's so obnoxious. Or he has, like, just annoying little habits. But
those obnoxious things are going to be the things that you miss when that person's gone. Right.
And you have to really make that decision of, is this something that's worth fighting over? But 9 times out of 10 it isn't. You know, you got to realize that you're not perfect. You and your relationship, as much as you love your partner and as much as you want to spend the rest of your life with your partner, or however it is that you feel, you're not perfect. Your relationship isn't perfect. Not fighting doesn't make your relationship perfect. Fighting doesn't make your relationship perfect.
But it's going to happen.
It is going to happen. But choosing to invest in your relationship, to learn your partner's one of the 5 love languages, 2 of the 5, whatever their love language is, however many they have. Learning that, making the sacrifices you have to make that other person happy. You're not going to be perfect. You're still going to make mistakes. We still fight. We're not perfect now that we're in a couples group. We're not perfect now that we started investing in our relationship. But you're going to be so much closer. You're going to be so much happier. And your relationship is just, it's going to be truly just the best that it's ever been. I can say honestly now that 2 years ago, we were not healthy. Our relationship wasn't healthy. Neither of us really knew what we were doing, and at this point, I feel like we kind of got the hang of things. Like,
a little bit.
Yeah, we still make mistakes, but we've really learned how to love each other and how to love each other properly. And so, if you take anything out of this video, you need to invest in your relationship before marriage. Whether marriage is even on the table for you. You might not even believe in marriage, and that's totally fine. But invest in your relationship. Learn how to properly love your partner and make the sacrifices that you need to.
Yeah.
We're not professionals. We don't know what we're doing half the time.
We are not certified counselors.
No.
We are not relationship advisors.
So don't come to us if this doesn't work.
We are just 2 people who are madly in love, and we wanted to share our experiences with all of you, and hope that it helps somebody that
needs
that may need the help, may not need the help, may need the help in the future.
Right.
Who knows? So catch us next time when we drop our next TAD Talk video. Make sure that you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel below, follow us on Instagram,
Heck yeah!
and turn on your notifications so you know when we drop a new video, which will be every Sunday.
Thanks for coming to our TAD Talk.
There you go.
Can you, because obviously we're not going to use, can you please move that hair right above your forehead? Look at yourself. Okay, thank you, because that's all I was looking at.